Welcome to the Real Salty Podcast. Please join Stephanie and Caitlin as we dive into life in Florida, the good, the salty, and everything in between. We'll chat about real estate, family, sports, building a community, and all the unique things that make living in the Sunshine State so special. Plus, we'll bring on some amazing special guests to share their stories and expertise along the way. So grab your favorite drink and get ready to laugh, learn, and get a little salty with us.
Hello.
Hello. There we
Hello.
are.
We're here again.
It's
I love
March.
it. Girl, it's already March.
It's March.
Spring break.
It's
right?
March. I know. It's starting to get busier, which is awesome. The traffic is in the area, which is fantastic. March is a big month. It's a really big month.
2-mile drive is a nightmare right now.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Fine.
It's fine.
So I'll
It's
allow
good.
it.
It's good,
Yeah.
but it is. It's quite a bit. Even on Sunday morning in the past, it was busier than it normally is. It's pretty sleepy town, but here we are, which is really exciting. So you were
really
quiet over the weekend. Did you have a good weekend?
You know what? We had a productive weekend.
Oh, that's always nice.
We actually started moving everything back into our apartment that was flooded with the hurricane. So the construction is done. Shout out to Pearl Design Build with Gretchen, the owner, the general contractor. She was amazing.
That's
so
awesome.
I owe you a Google review and I haven't forgotten. Yeah, no, I'm struggling to find words, which is fantastic because that's what we do on this as a podcast. But I'm exhausted. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, 5 months later.
I'm physically exhausted. It was 2 solid days of moving. And granted, we're really lucky. It wasn't logistically. We were moving from where we had relocated upstairs in a studio unit back downstairs into our 2-bedroom home. But that's a lot of stairs.
It's a lot of stairs.
That's a lot of stairs. There was one day where I didn't wear my watch. And then the second day I was like, I'm going to wear it because I'm going to figure out how many steps I'm getting in because this is insanity. Make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And then I kept getting hung up on stuff and I was like, man, I just kind of ripped it off in the middle of it. So I still don't know an accurate count. I feel like it's a safe that I did 15 flights of stairs, no doubt, with stuff like
with stuff. No, that's right.
Stuff. We got Trent relocated his office stuff, his desk and his monitor. So he was actually able to work downstairs today.
That's good. That's good.
Which is nice in his office. And yeah, we slept there both nights.
Nice.
I will say this. So we have a king bed again. Yay.
Oh my gosh.
Love
the
you
little
so
things.
Much. Yes, but okay. They, meaning Trent and my landlord, they say that this is a queen bed that's up in the studio. I am telling you, this is not a queen bed. It's a full.
Okay.
Maybe,
it's a full. Okay.
Weird medium between a full and a queen, but it is the smallest queen, if it is, strike me down, that I have ever. And I love Trent dearly, but it's like, it was really hard. And now it's just like, oh my God, stay over there.
Did you have to replace your bed too?
Oh yeah. So that's another thing. We've been slowly having furniture and things delivered over the last week and a half. So we have bigger pieces, like our couch came, we got the recliner, we have rugs down, we got the entertainment center, and of course a brand new TV.
Nice.
And then yes, we got the bed frame, which we order a super tall bed frame so that way we can actually fit whole plastic tubs for storage underneath the bed, like completely underneath.
Sure.
So it's a pretty high up metal frame. And then we got a new mattress. Yeah. I mean, there's still, the thing is that you have to remember all of our major furniture pieces flooded. So what we were able to salvage were things that were hanging on the walls or the furniture pieces that were high enough that didn't fall over. That had knickknacks or photo frames or something on the top of them. So all we have is really
very little
stuff that's supposed to go inside things. Or on top of things. And we have, at this moment, not bought said things. So there's just stuff on the floor around all the walls. And it's just clutter city right now. And, I went to work like, la, 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 la.
Yeah, it'll take some time. It's going to take some
time. I'm a little tired of moving already.
Well, and it was 5 months. I mean, you were displaced into a single family home room for a little bit. And then able to come back to that. But it wasn't just you were displaced. Everything was wet. I mean, just everything.
Well, and the time has come too where, I actually had I'm not sure why it actually with the algorithm popped up on Facebook. It almost popped up like a memory, but it hasn't been a year. But it was a post that I had made. I think someone had recently liked it, so it brought it back up.
Yeah.
But it was a post I made where it was like, it's been 1 week today.
Ugh.
And it was kind of like a lot of photos. And so I retook photos in the exact angles from our flooded out of what it looks like now. And I sent it to like my mom and stuff. And she's like, it's so crazy to think that that was real now. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. Because you kind of forget. I mean, the human brain, I haven't forgotten. Don't get me wrong. But it's like physically being inside of it again. And then seeing the photo and remembering what it actually looked like. Because it almost was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Right, exactly.
It's really hard to explain. But yeah, that was, Well, that's exciting. I'm happy for you.
It is exciting. And I haven't really posted anything. I know there's been a lot of family and friends that have continuously reached out since that offering anything. Please let me know when you are ready, like if there's anything that you need, because I had commented that I was debating putting together a registry of some kind.
Yep.
When the time came to start recouping the household items. Well, 5 months, we couldn't wait for a coffee maker. We couldn't wait for, an air fryer.
You needed to get more normal.
Yeah. Shout out to Trish White. She bought me my air fryer. So love you. So, I mean, there were just certain things that we had to go ahead and buy. And I didn't lose all my dishes. I guess I could have waited to let somebody buy me some pots and pans like a 20-nothing-year-old getting married, but I went ahead and bought them.
Maybe you could just get married.
You know what? Maybe we should just get married.
It's like the longest engagement ever. I mean, you could and just, it's for the people.
That's what the people want, apparently.
It's what the people want, Caitlin. God, all right, that's what you can say. Trent, we're going to get married. But I'm going to go ahead and register right now, okay? We'll figure out all the details later.
We'll just pull the rug later and be like, just kidding. No, just kidding. Gotcha.
We're still together, though, so don't think that nothing else happened.
It's funny because, and that's the funny thing is that people are like, they're still together. Like, when they find out that it's a consistent, what is it going to be, 15 years?
Yeah, it's a long time. It's no joke.
God, that is a lifetime.
Shannon actually said that to me the other day, the photographer. He said, isn't Caitlin getting married soon? I went, that's funny.
Now you get to laugh like I do, like an evil Disney.
He goes, I thought she was engaged. I was like, for like ever.
See, that's the thing. And when I meet people for the first time too, or if we're talking and it comes up and I'm like, oh, my fiance Trent, the natural reaction is to say, congratulations. When's the wedding?
I actually didn't like that stage.
Well, and it's funny because
we got engaged in like June and we got married the following July. And that stage was difficult to me because I felt like I was being one of those girls that said, I'm going to call my fiance, so you have to ask me all these questions. And I didn't need that stage.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't important to me. It just wasn't important to me. I'm not like that. So, but
people feel very entitled to ask a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much anymore, because I feel like some people have been like, they figured out not my business.
Right.
But the funny thing is you having that reaction when Shannon said something, our photographer, when he said something, you were like, oh yeah, no, that's no.
He was like, I don't even know how your name got brought up.
But you might actually get it now, because when I have that reaction of acting like, oh, funny story, and people like look at you like, I didn't mean to crack open a can of worms of some kind. I'm like, no, I just, we've been engaged for 7 years, actually. That's 9 now. It'll be 9.
I actually don't even know how he mentioned you or something like, I don't even know. I don't remember. Oh, I think we were going to that. Oh, because we did that event that night.
Oh, okay.
I think I was saying that I was going to that social event that we did last week. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go with Caitlin to that. And he was like, isn't she kidding? And I'm like, no.
See, and now, you know what? I feel like the only person that it still might actually annoy is when people ask is when my mom, I don't know. I would have to ask her, actually, to avoid it, I wonder if she just says her partner.
Maybe.
And maybe people don't ask the question anymore.
Well, if they said that you got engaged, then maybe someone would then be saying, is she pregnant?
Well,
that might be the next thing.
Oh, that's always the next thing. And it's funny too, because the people that are in our lives, when you were talking about stage, okay,
Yes.
the stage of it, there's certain stages throughout your entire relationship. First of all, how long you've been together, when are you getting engaged,
Yeah.
when are you going to take the next step, when are you going to check the next box, when are you going to do this, when are you going to buy a house, when are you going to have the kids? And it's always been in some kind of traditionally societal
It
order.
has. The most
Okay.
part it has.
And it's funny because each one of those stages, I waited them out. And eventually I am glad to report that after anywhere from 3 to 5 years per stage, people stop asking. They stop
You're just
asking.
testing it. You just want to actually
Yeah.
see how this
This
all
is an
works.
entire social
It
experiment. And I have
has.
to say,
And
I
Trent
think
is
I'm winning.
real. He's very
I'm
real.
I'm winning the
Yeah, you
game
are.
because it's funny how many divorces, how many, different things have
Have
happened
happened in
over
that
with
time
other
frame.
people
Yeah.
that sometimes maybe even look at me on their high horse for some reason.
Mhm.
Poor Caitlin, still not married. Oh, poor Caitlin, this, that, or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, how's that going with Brad?
Right.
That's right. He cheated on you
Exactly.
with like your best friend that was in the
Right.
wedding. Yeah. Okay,
Right.
never
Stop
mind.
being so judgy, Karen.
I'm like, but that's none of my never
That's
mind.
right.
But
Never mind. Well, if you guys made it through Helene without any
yeah.
scar, I mean, there might be a few scars, but
I feel like we've checked all the
physically and
boxes.
emotionally, but like you've hit like
Yeah.
too
We've
many
renovated a
boxes.
we renovated a house. We've bought and sold multiple properties. We've moved across country. We've survived dealing with hurricane aftermath.
Yes.
We've dealt with the loss of a parent. We've
Yeah.
dealt with, I mean,
Yeah. There's a lot of boxes right there.
there's a lot of like little tap, tap, tests that, yeah, check, check, check. So
Yeah.
apparently those candles that are lit in that random Catholic church in Iowa are working.
They're
So
working. Cheers.
yeah, praise be to
Cheers.
God.
Well,
There you go.
over the weekend am happy to report that one of the homes that I'm representing, well, it's not a home, it's the property. They actually
Okay.
had it demolished because they just couldn't stand. It's a couple that lives out of state, and they've had the home since 1957 in their family.
Wow.
Single family wood construction home, just been around. This has been their kind of their winter break every single year.
Yeah.
And I got in touch with them in probably October and just kept chatting with them to see if they needed anything. And I actually ended up getting to know their neighbors quite a bit because I would go in and check on the home. And then they finally decided they just wanted to demolish it, and that's kind of controversial because of the setback laws and having to oversee them if it was already.
Well, let me ask this. Was it because it was wood frame? Okay. One of the traditional vintage floor, was it structurally unsound enough that it could collapse on somebody?
And that's what they were worried about. And there was no way
Okay.
to lock it at that point. Like I went in the home and there
Yes.
was just no way to lock it. It was,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was unsecured.
it was
And so
very
they're,
unsecured, and they were concerned about just, caution tape
well,
wasn't going to make them feel good. They were worried about
no.
squatters and stuff like that. So,
And the reality is if somebody was
real.
in there, somebody got hurt on their property,
Yep. Yep.
even if they were there for the wrong reasons and they were technically trespassing and all the things,
All of the
you know,
things.
it's that's unfortunate.
It just was too much for them to even manage. They just wanted to do it, which anyone that is curious at like the cost of that's pretty much in between $10,000 and $15,000 to do that, depending on the size.
Lot,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And they had some neighbors that are right down the street that I met quite a few times. The first time I met the gentleman, he came up on me and I was like, this guy's about ready to shoot me because he thinks I literally do not look
He
like
came
someone
up
that's
aggressively.
yeah, like I was like, whoa, put down the gun. Like, I mean, it was close to,
What up? Puffed up. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, it was close to that. It was close to that. But I was like, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, but anyway, but their land went under contract, which I'm really, really excited about because I was doing all of the like analysis for them to help them make the decision because although we set it at a certain price, I knew we weren't going to get that price. I just knew it was a good starting price for them. And and so I did this whole analysis, and there's only, I mean, according to real estate, like, what we have the visibility to see, not any of that was sold to an investor or anything, but there's only been 5 pieces of land that have sold since October in Madeira Beach. And I went through the whole MLS as well as the vacant land in the MLS. And there's over 60 properties in just Madeira Beach alone, not even using the full zip code are just uninhabitable. So they were talking, it went back. The person offered something. I said, we're not interested. Time is on our side. They're not in any hurry. They came back with a really solid offer. I literally said to my people, because, everyone wants to play a little bit of a game. They were like, do
Yes.
you think, I was like, they're like, do you think that we should take this offer? Do you think we should counter it? And I was like, I think this is a gift from God. I mean, I am not a religious person, but holy cow, this is a gift from God and you should take it. So they're elated. It's actually being bought by a gentleman too. So it's not even like a corporation coming in. So that made them feel a little bit better too. But it should help like this number should help the overall health and I think the just confidence that the seller confidence that they're not going to lose their shirt if they do decide to list.
Or they shouldn't have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can wait it out. The right person is out there looking exactly for what you have.
Yes.
Yep. It's just a matter of the right person.
And I mean, right now that is a tiny little miracle gift, isn't it?
It is. And and for them, I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a conversation that I don't have with them that, the gentleman's not slightly in tears over this whole thing, right? I mean, granted, they had, essentially 75 years to lift it. I mean, of course they did, but it's one of many, many, many stories, but the number's really solid.
That I'm glad, because kind of what we're dancing around right now, and a lot of people that maybe are active in the industry that might tune in, or even people that find themselves in the home buying process right now might be aware of what we're alluding to. So we're basically talking about a comparable. Mm-hmm. So the fact that this was a very strong offer on a piece of property where, like Stephanie mentioned, there are buku choices.
Yes.
Okay, so if they offer somebody something and they don't take it, they can go to the next house and literally knock on the door and offer them it.
Yep.
That with the frequency of the amount of things that are available. And unfortunately, with only 5 closings in the city of Madeira Beach, those are the 5 closings. Those are the 5 recorded pricings that you have that a lot of people are going to take into consideration. Buyers are going to take that into consideration. Sellers, unfortunately, have to take that into consideration, that is the reality they find them in currently in this micro market. That makes my heart happy that she's talking about the fact that this was a healthy enough price to where this isn't going to cut off your neighbors or cut off your nose to spite your neighbor. And this is the thing too, is we can't really think about it as a one for all or all for one, but one person can really throw a wrench into, well, there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Unless we play the waiting game for a lot longer now, because now our closest comparable price of a closing, think about appraisals, think about, you know what I mean? Like if people are actually getting financing too for these types of properties and vacant land. You think that appraiser's not going to take into consideration those things?
Yeah.
So
and the four of the 5 comparables were waterfront. And this is just one block away from, Gulf Boulevard, essentially.
Right.
So, but it's, so I was really excited for them. I mean, I'm so sad for them still too, right? I mean, as much as it's exciting to make a sale, and I know I'm super proud of this number that came in and just how I was able to work with the realtor about it. But like, it's just, I think it's good. It's really good. I'm really happy for Madeira Beach.
I'm very happy for both of you guys, because you worked very hard for your client and you guys held the ground. Luckily for them, they were in a position where they didn't have to take the first tap the glass offer that we received, and you held strong. And again, advisement, because this is the second offer. We can
play with it a little bit. No.
Don't play with this mouse. Let's just eat it like we're done. Yeah.
And like the other thing to mention too is that there's a lot of people that are not jumping into the selling game, or they're doing it for sale by owner, which is no problem too. Like, I understand you want to hold your money tight, and I don't blame you in so many ways. But the one thing that I'm consistently hearing with any prospects that I have that are considering listing is they'll say, well, I've already gotten this as an offer, and I'll follow up and it'll go 2 ways. Did you get a written contract?
Right.
And most of the time the answer is no. It's just people calling along, looking at the the land value in the Pinellas County appraisal and offering that, or they're say yes. And if I've gotten my hands on a couple of those offers and it's like $1,000 down in escrow and it can be assignable. And so, which means that like what they're trying to do is, and they put it out as a 60-day close, even though it's a cash offer, they put it out as a 60-day close. Who needs a cash offer 60-day close? I mean, either the money's there or not, and you should be asking for proof of funds. And
God, yes.
In that time frame, it is worth it to that person that is going to buy your home to try and resell it while they're under contract with you for more money what have you could have gotten to begin with. And unless you know how to read a real estate contract, you don't know those answers.
Well, so I have one for you, and I'm going to be very delicate about this because we're still kind of in
negotiations.
Yeah. But what I'm figuring out too is that, okay, untraditional financing, okay, hard money lenders.
Yeah.
They don't have to disclose.
They don't
have to disclose.
Right.
They can put other. So what I figured out too was, let's just say a line of credit. Okay. So I had other checked line of credit on an offer that we received on a property that I have listed in Madeira Beach, and we are holding strong because this particular property actually has 2 lots.
Okay. Yeah.
Under one parcel.
Yeah. That's a lovely project that someone's got there.
It is because it's options. It's either divide and conquer 2 single family homes, keep her together, do a duplex. I mean, hell, it's even got the Hobbit Shire dream of a cabin on it. If you want to save her, 1940 Pecking Cypress, hand-hewn everything. Anyway, the point is that it looked like a very nice and neat deal. Healthy escrow, quicker close. I would say 35 days.
Okay, that's not bad.
But inspection period, 7 days, only because they want to verify with the city. The gentleman is very specific and wants to verify with the city the usages, even though we've pretty much done the back leg work
for him. Yeah.
But by checking with the financing option, even though it looked like short, inside of it, because it wasn't cash, initiates a minimum 30-day appraisal period.
Yep.
And that, my friend, takes us 5 days from when you're supposed to close.
Yes.
And we're not going to sit around and wait for you to get this appraised. That it was a trick. And like Stephanie's talking about, you have to read the fine print, because even though it was a 7-day inspection period, we'll be good to go before then, it automatically engaged the appraisal contingency.
Really?
By checking that. So make sure you also read that, because it can look nice and neat too with due diligence periods or inspection periods, as we might as well refer to it. But there's still a loophole out there always with the appraisal contingency. Again, we act like we're wrestling alligators.
Well, we're not underage. We're not underage, so we're allowed to. Remember?
That's right.
Yes, if you're under the age of 18, you're not allowed to in the state of Florida for work. But we are over the age of 18, so we are allowed to.
We are allowed to, so we can tell you exactly how to do that.
Yeah.
But it's, you know what? I'm happy for your people. I hope smooth sailing ahead. I hope that this brings maybe even a sigh of relief to the surrounding sellers and neighbors.
So too.
And they're starting to see, I'm not saying a complete bounce back, but it's just like, maybe we've made it through the darkest days. Maybe we are starting to see that upswing in, we're the Pinellas Barrier Islands, bitch.
Exactly. No, that's right. I mean, that's right. I think it's super exciting, but
yeah, she still looks a little rough, but we still are who we are. Come on. What's that Devil Wears Prada? Everybody wants to be us.
Everybody.
Don't be silly.
Emily.
Sorry.
Emily. Everybody wants to be us.
Everybody wants this. Exactly. Well, another thing that we kind of wanted to talk about tonight, but I think we might have to leave the full topic. I do believe it's important to bring it up to the people because there's a lot of set time sensitive things that are going to occur with this, but that Elevate Florida program.
Oh, yeah.
And as we're talking about these land vacant lots or properties that are scheduled to basically have some type of remedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what if somebody wants to keep their in the family since 1957? Oh, that just gets my heart.
My heart too.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're going to talk a little bit about, but I think we're going to have a full episode that's going to dedicate later to hopefully a lot more details that are going to be released.
Yeah, because we really just don't know. I mean, we had planned on that being today, but we literally just don't have a lot of details.
But I feel like it's important to get the information out there, because even if it's just an apply to wait, get in line, because we don't know cutoffs. So what we're talking about is actually a program that's called Elevate Florida. This is part of the FDEM's residential mitigation program, meaning what are we going to do about not letting this happen in the destructive manner to the toll that just happened last hurricane season? How can we get ahead of it? How can we help mitigate, essentially, the issues that can be caused from ground floor homes, essentially?
Because it only makes everyone safer, truthfully. I mean, it just does.
You think about, too, that if, God forbid, something happens this hurricane season, how many people that we know that maybe were even able to come back or hold out or wait it out, that they're going to lose their insurance?
Yep.
After this. Yeah. So,
or with that, they're going to be priced so high they can't afford it, and they're going to have to self-elect out. Yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface on that piece of it yet. I mean, insurance has not been impacted in Florida, and the thing that's interesting about insurance is that, with the exception of Citizens, which is the kind of the Florida insurance. Even my dad said yesterday, we're getting dropped by Citizens. I'm like, okay, well, you're not getting dropped. Like, they're selling you off to someone else. That we can't have Citizens be a monopoly in the state of Florida, but the rest of them are national. So all of these things that are happening need to happen, because if like you're in Connecticut or in Kansas or wherever, you're still paying for our insurance too. Like, it just divides by that many more when you go into the national piece. Like, all these unfortunate fires that happened out in California, we all are paying for it too. We all will. And we haven't seen those insurance prices quite hit yet. Yeah. There's not an immediate flow from that. So we'll figure that out.
The simpleton brain, the way that my simpleton brain thinks about it is that basically we pay more in car insurance for the uninsured drivers that are out there on the road.
Exactly.
Think about that. So with the Elevated Florida program, let's be very clear. This is a grant. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So to become a potential participant, there's a couple rules that you have to basically be eligible for. You have to be over the age of 18. You do have to be a United States citizen. You do have to be the legal property owner of a residential property in the state of Florida. And you also have to be able to contribute up to whatever this 25% of your project's total cost.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that probably during the application that you need to actually have a proposal, an estimate, an engineering report of, to prove, almost like if you were going to go to the city and get the permit.
Yep.
You need to have all of your T's crossed, all of your I's dotted. But the important thing is, people, that they're saying that you could be eligible for up to 75% of your project's total cost in grant funds.
Amazing.
Now, of course, we're from the government and we're here to help you. So it does not look that this might be a timely thing.
It's going to take a while.
They're actually
estimating for served basis too.
2 years that you could see maybe the fruits of your labor with this. Or this is where
it doesn't cost you anything to apply.
It doesn't cost you anything to apply. And I feel like, what's the harm right now of getting in line?
Yeah.
Why don't we just get in line?
Yeah, the same gentleman that was going to shoot me actually applied for this Elevate Florida. I wish I was serious. We've gone from being arch enemies to best friends, whereas when I see him and he recognizes me and we always chat now.
Can we please give him a nickname? I want to call him Red Rider.
We can call him that.
We just call him Red Rider.
Yeah, because we wouldn't want to disclose his real name. So Red Rider actually can live back in his house. And so he does live back in his house, but he said, I'm going to go ahead and apply. He was one of the first 100 to apply, because you literally get a number.
Wow.
So you know where you're out in line. And so I'm not sure, like, you had to do all of this stuff. And I would imagine that it would go by square footage of what you want to build.
Well, and it even says here that applications may be prioritized based on history of loss. So it's saying that your property does not actually have to have had experienced flooding or damage in the past to be considered. But it's saying they may be prioritized based on history of loss. Secondary residents may also be considered if sufficient funding is still available. So that means all the people that aren't homesteaded, listen up, second home people.
Yes.
So with that being said, though, it's very important. We're kind of basically talking about single family homes exclusively.
It really is.
There is no multifamily real estate such as duplexes, triplexes, condominiums, townhomes, semi-detached homes, apartments, and manufactured homes.
Or commercial.
It does say, it actually says multifamily real estate may be eligible. Why do I feel like they're going to go to the back of the line?
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we listen and we don't judge.
For now. But this is another reason that we debated whether or not even discussing this on tonight's episode is there's a lot of may, there's a lot of might.
Because
there's a lot of information. We do not know if there's going to be caps, okay, in the amounts that you can apply for.
Just get in line behind Red Ryder, please.
Just get in line. Get right behind Red Ryder. And another thing to mention too is that the property being submitted for this mitigation project has to be owned by an individual, which means that a corporate commercial entity such as an LLC can't apply. And also renters, unfortunately, are not eligible in their own personal capacity, but they can make sure to bring the program, if they love where they live, to their landlord's attention to see if they might be able to participate in the program. Do you want to tell the people what the options are? Because we keep talking about mitigate. How are we mitigating, Stephanie?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all of this, we just don't know, right? We just don't know some of these answers, but they recognize that there needs to be a solve in the state with this, and that we can't just sit there and keep blaming it on the insurances and not from just a responsibility of, there's no joke that our government wants to make it so that our governments are all run individually, right? Like as far as the states, and it's no doubt that Florida has always wanted to be the epicenter of everything. We want to be the most important state. And so you can't just keep pushing this back on the insurance companies. You have to be able to latch on to, okay, how do we create government funding for this to get these people? It's not going away. Hurricanes are not going away. And in fact, in this area, it's proven that they're only increasing to a certain degree, unfortunately. So how do we be proactive about this whole thing? And it's just important that we go through all of this to help elevate all of these buildings so that, you can ride out the storm safely in your own home and not be in a situation. Yeah, I mean, it's an application process. You should definitely, at the very least, apply.
Yes.
And yeah.
So if the good people actually Google Elevate Florida, I pretty readily found the information on floridadisaster.org. When we talk about basically that you could be eligible for up to 75% funding as long as you can cover your 25% as an ownership, there's different things that you can do with this program. So let's say that, for example, if you had a homeowner that the structure was still remaining and like Red Ryder, he could
just
build it back.
Yep.
Just the way that it is, but he also has the options to do structure elevation, which
that's what he applied for,
to raise it up, right?
He's already 3 feet up, so he had minimal, but he really believes that the street that he's on is going to be like $1 Million Alley, and he's not wrong. I mean, he's not wrong. The cost to build a home right now in Madera Beach, based on the current market per square foot, in a 1,500 square foot home, which is not small. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That's not a small home. That's an average home in most places. It's going to cost about $600,000. And so you add that plus the land. He's not wrong. I mean, it's very easy to say that's $1 million home, but so this is an option if time is on your side. Another option that we would also mention too is you can do a construction loan, which is kind of a pay as you go. So you get proof of what has been accomplished so that you know that your money is not being just invested in other places. It's actually going truly right back in your construction too, which is a good option too.
Yeah. I mean, other than the actual structural elevation, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because you're taking a lot of these, don't get me wrong, greatest generation, solid built 50s block homes, right? But you're raising those up in the air. And meanwhile, you got 1957. Oh, and this is the other thing we used to say, you got 1957 electrical, you got 1957 plumbing, all the things that are up in the air just on a prayer and a whim, Josh Groban style.
Yep.
But my thought with that might change a little bit now, because let's also be honest, all the electrical was submerged in water. So if the structure itself is still salvageable engineeringly to be lifted up, I have to imagine that all that electrical has to be replaced just like the electrical in my place, meaning that it has to be raised up. What is it, 4 feet?
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah.
Something at 4 feet, right? So it does look very odd. We have outlets that are like in the middle of the wall right here that would be above a chair rail.
Yeah,
It
all of
does
the
look
outlets
odd.
in our business are literally like, I need a stool to get to.
Ours were not though, and our
Yeah,
structure
right.
is a 60 structure, and it's block, and so I have to think that they're going to have to do that now. But at the same time, just like any other construction, my feedback from people that have done this elevate of the structure, it always takes longer than promised. It always costs more than promised. But what is that not true about any construction new build project? It always takes longer than promised. It always costs more than originally estimated. That's why it's an estimate. But you can also do, like, for example, for Stephanie's people, if they had decided to keep the land, right?
Right.
And they scraped the structure, they could do basically the 75-25 grant to build a brand new home that is up to FEMA codes, that is up to FEMA standards, that it is 14 feet above sea level, that you do have all of the updates and necessary stuff. So you can build brand new with this program. You could also use it purely for wind mitigation, meaning that if you just want to reduce the risk of any future wind damage to your structure, this could be for roofing, this could be for windows, this could be for doors or other vulnerable
Yeah, it doesn't have
components
to be structure, just structure.
property.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's get some hurricane grade windows in there. Let's get the roof tie downs, right? Let's get everything that we could possibly do if you have built this back.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Just
I think I think it might be 36 inches that it has to be up, because I was in
Gotcha.
a home yesterday. I went to an open house, the one that's
About 4 feet sounded tall. It was like,
it is a little tall, because I was at 129th. There's a gorgeous home that's on the market. It's the blue one that is a built up structure. I mean, this one is just absolutely gorgeous. So they were doing an open house, so I went to it yesterday. And it was interesting because they started this project prior to, obviously, all of these hurricanes. It's been a project been going on for quite some time.
Oh, it's on my street. I know exactly how long they've been blocking.
Exactly, because they've had stuff out there the whole time.
Except when you're building a home, apparently.
Yes, exactly.
Then come and get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I walked, like, their whole main level downstairs is obviously just garage. It's like double garage. And then it goes out to the pool. But I actually looked at the outlets and I was like, ooh, I actually don't even know if those are high enough anymore, because they were only at what I would say probably 36 inches. So that's probably, they weren't so high that I noticed them, but I was like, oh, I wonder if those were an issue. I mean, there was so much water that came in. That was an unprecedented amount of water.
And this is that literally there is 1 2-lane street and another lot across the street from what I consider to be open Gulf water. Yeah. Because that is John's.
Right. No, it is. It's totally
that is the first street that goes underwater.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's my street.
It's your street. It's your street. It's your street.
So
yeah.
And that house was under construction pre-hurricane, and there was another even bigger behemoth under construction.
Yeah, or the one, down at the end, 129
on my street. Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was like
I gotta get in that one.
You had to go around this way, but then you had to cut back into the left lane to go around their trucks, and then go around and all the things. And all I have to say is, finish building your house. Finish. The one is done, the beautiful one that you went to go see, but finish building your house, because this other spec home, it has been 2.5 years.
Long time.
2.5 years. And I don't care what South American mahogany rainforest, Amazon forest that you had to pull a door out of. Get it. Just get it and get it done.
Just get it.
You know? My God.
Exactly.
Tell them it's mahogany and then replace it later like National Treasure. Like, shut up.
Exactly. Yeah, I got to get in that house, but that blue one is gorgeous. It's 5 bedrooms. It's gorgeous. 4 upstairs, 1 on the main level. Yeah.
So they do have it fully furnished.
Totally.
And
they do staged. It's staged.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, good to know that $3.5 million doesn't come with furniture. No,
Exactly.
Or does it?
The kitchen is like commercial chef's kitchen. It's gorgeous. It's really, really pretty. It's
So they have a few choice lights that are left on at night, and I can see it from my house. And like the primary bedroom is lit up.
Yeah, because that one's at the top. Yep.
It looks really nice.
It's so pretty. It really is. It was very well done. It's very spacious. A lot of things that they thought of. The only thing I didn't love was that
that it looks back on the butt crack of the canal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It does.
It's literally the armpit, like, of the canal.
It is.
Okay, sorry.
It
anyway,
is. Well, the other thing that I would say that I didn't love about it either is that the only way to get to the pool is actually to walk through the garage area. They don't have a staircase on the outside to walk down to the pool area. So like if you're bringing out like a hot dog platter or hamburger platter for everyone to enjoy at the lower level, you would literally, it's almost like you would need to create like some sort of kitchen underneath, but the whole garage is epoxy. So that's expensive, very well done. And it's made so the water can just rush in and out if it's needed to be, but it's a quadruple garage. It's huge, but nonetheless, there isn't an outdoor.
And that might be, I'm not sure who the builder was on that project, but my thought is like, you couldn't put in a spiral staircase down. Now, here's the other thing. I hate a spiral staircase. Don't get me wrong. I mean, so many people can't do them. I say I'm good until 2 margaritas and then we'll see. I'm a taller person. As a taller woman, you should resonate with me that usually the handrail will
like this when you're walking down.
Yes, and you have to be like this when you're walking down, or the handrail only hits you like right below the hip bone. So God forbid, you know what I mean? Like it's a very top heavy situation. And also maybe I'm just, overthinking it. And
no, it should have something. It should have something from the back balcony for sure. Like I think I was like, did I miss that? And I went back around and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that would be the only design flaw. I mean, if we're going to get picky on a $3.5 million house, that would be the design.
I'm going to be honest. If I had the means as a property owner right now to wait, and see exactly how this program shakes out, I would 100% use this to build a up to code FEMA new
I would too. I'd buy a piece of property and sit on it and see what happens.
Well, and see, that's the thing. I even asked the question. I'm like, so what if you buy like a distressed property now? Yep. Can you apply for this? No, you have to have gone through something with it or owned it. But the contradictory point for me is it says
that's true.
You don't even have to have gone through damage, but it might be a consideration in
prioritize it.
Prioritizing. Thank you. Again, I'm exhausted. Sorry.
No, we are. Yeah, I get it.
So I don't know. I mean, you want to buy a lot and like apply with me?
I mean, seriously.
That's what I'm getting.
Let's call Candace.
Dude. Yeah. Let's do it. So
yeah. No, but it's but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see the way this plays out. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, stay tuned. As we get more information on it, we'll bring you more about it. Just like these alleged property taxes should go away. Stay tuned. Not even going to talk about it yet because it's just a headline grabbing statement.
It is.
Yeah.
But so interestingly enough, so last week, for those that listened or did not listen, we did a couple of questions last week that we've gotten some viewers that have emailed and or shared with us in real time that they would like to know what our opinion was of a few things. And over the weekend, one of our lovely viewers voiced his discern that we did not answer his question. So Caitlin and I decided to do 2 more questions based off of that.
Yes. So, yes. Please.
We're so sorry.
Give the people what they want for the love of God.
That's right. We'll talk real estate and then we'll get into the nitty gritty if you want. But, we're trying to keep it real. And Caitlin and I clearly get off topic maybe 1,800 times during the course of a podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say to the Brad, Chad, and Dads, you should join us at happy hour. You wouldn't be able to keep up.
I mean, the other night you and I were like in a secret language that I know that like.
It was literally the ping pong scene in Forrest Gump. That's what happened right there.
I was like, they have no idea what we're talking about.
I know. We switched. We literally like went to 4 subjects. We're just like, right? But then I know. And what?
Okay,
I
yeah, we were
know.
talking about that. Oh, okay, yeah, let's go.
But anyway, we'll talk about that next week. And it's like,
that was
people were like,
so
what just
funny.
happened? It is kind of funny now. It is kind of funny, but we got to be careful.
We do. Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
So for the pressing listener, let's hear this question because we are going to give you an answer.
Exactly. Okay, so let me pull it up as I had.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Okay, so this gentleman wanted to know, is right now a time to be buying? Like, are you going to get a good deal on a house on Florida, or are those days over? Wanting to know basically that is
He can play the
Florida
game.
outpriced everyone at this point.
Okay.
So, and this is what I would say as a quick answer. So I know that you look at these prices and you say, whoa, like, I can't believe this, and this costs this. What you have to do before you start saying, like, I can't afford that, is you have to make a connection with the mortgage broker if it's not going to be a cash deal. And you have to find out how much it's going to cost you monthly. It doesn't matter in some degree what the cost of the place is if you love the place. You just need to be able to afford the monthly payment because you're not going to live there for the rest of your life.
Right. You have to afford to live there for the period of time.
Just at least stay there for 5 years. And I assure you, it needs to be 5 years. It has to be 5 years. Commit to 5 years and you won't go wrong. And make sure that you can afford it. And when I say afford it, meaning all in on insurance, all in on taxes, all in on everything. Who cares if it's a $500,000 one bedroom, one bath condo, or it is a $5 million, house in the armpit of 129th Street on the canal?
I really shouldn't say that. I sound bitter, and I promise you I'm not. But I'm just.
You would think with the views. You would think with the views that you have to just make sure you can afford it, because I assure you, you're not going to stay there forever. And if you do, then you will definitely make your money back.
100%.
100%.
100%.
This guy that I just am in the process of selling his, it's not even his property. I mean, his a home. He's not even selling a home. And he is making so much money off of it. So much money off of it. That it's a gift. It is a gift. Now, granted, like, just make sure you can afford that. No, it hasn't outpriced itself. We're all human. We all have to pay our bills. You just have to make sure that the math is mathing for you.
Correct.
That would be what I would say. That's the quick and short of it.
That is the quick and short of it.
And it's not because I thought your question was stupid. It's just that we just thought there were some funnier ones that we wanted to chat about.
No, we are not. There are no stupid questions.
Yeah, no, there's not. I mean, that's a fair question. If you're coming from the middle of like nowhere America and you can't believe that you could buy, like, let's say a condo for 70 grand, right? Like, let's say you can buy one for 70 grand and then you come down here and it's 400,000 plus condo fees. Yeah, it is sticker shock. It is sticker shock.
It is. It absolutely is.
Can you afford it? Yes. Yeah. Can you afford it? And that's all that matters. Don't worry about the cost of it. Just figure out if you can afford it.
Yes. And I think that, my friend, is a perfect answer. Can you afford to live there? Because for all the reasons that you mentioned, hardly nobody is keeping a property for a 30-year mortgage anymore. No. I mean, come on, people.
And if you're going to, now life happens and sometimes you only live there for a couple of years, or life happens and you bought during COVID, and now you want to turn around and sell it. So yeah, you might take a loss with it. Yeah, you might. But you know that going into it, just commit to 5 years and you'll be able to be okay. It might not be perfect, but at least get what you bought it for.
And for right now, I mean, we are still technically in one of the downswings. I feel like that as a buyer, you still are able to make deals.
Yeah.
That negotiations, meaning that there's not 7 other buyers behind you where you don't come looking like the belle of the ball. Next.
Yep.
So right now there are still deals to be had. Again, making important and note of, can you afford to be a player in the game? Can you afford it comfortably enough with your reserves or your savings? You know what your monthly income is. But I feel like right now, specifically when it comes to wheeling and dealing, if you will, you can do less than asking prices. We can talk about asking for 1 year, maybe prepaid dues being
Yes.
left
Yeah. We
behind in
can make some
escrow
of those
accounts.
concessions
We
that
can
will
talk
actually help
about,
you right away. For
we can
sure.
talk about buyer rate buy downs. We can talk about, I mean,
Mortgage
there's so
companies
many
have
things.
so many different things up their sleeve right now. I got a
Yeah.
notification from Wells Fargo today that said that they're now doing 10% down and you can avoid the PMI. Like, are you kidding me? I know, but you can use that maybe. But that's the
God,
thing.
do I do business personally with the devil?
I know.
Sorry.
No, it is. It definitely is. But that's the thing, is that there's so many of those different things. And then the other thing that I've noticed in the last month, as I've worked with probably 5 different buyers that want,
Keep going. I have to get another
no, that's
drink.
fine,
Sorry.
that want the price. So if a house is on the market, let's say for $900,000, just throwing that number out there because a million will turn some viewers off, but 900,000 doesn't sound so high. And you don't think, based on all your math, that the house is worth 900,000. Guess what? You're not the one selling it. If they want 900,000, they're going to wait.
Yeah.
And you can't
exactly
get mad at them. It's their product to sell. It's not your product to sell. It's their product to sell. And if you don't like the price of it, then move on. Find something else. You can keep an eye on it to see if it drops to your price range. But there's been so many people that I have been working with that their math is mathing. Like, I don't disagree with them at all. I don't disagree with them. But if the person is selling it for that price, unless you hear it from the realtor's mouth that they are super open to negotiating, they're where they're at. And I've seen it.
Right.
Right.
Asking price.
Yeah. And I've seen it in 3 different deals in the last month that, like, I've had people put offers on and the people have said, no, thank you. Haven't even countered and just waited. And they came pretty damn close to what they wanted. And it's like, okay, then you just have to move on. I don't disagree with your math. I really don't. But if that's what the good people want, because it's their home to sell, it's not your home to buy, it's their home to sell first, you got to get behind that train too, because I do believe it's a little bit more of a buyer's market. But to what you were saying, I think that there's more inventory. So it's very easy for us to say that it's a buyer's market right now. But in some degree, because so many buyers have been sitting on the sideline for so long.
Yes.
Right? It's like they want to get off of it, but it still isn't the price they want to pay.
Well, I feel like they feel, okay, let's take the national news. Okay. All the national news is saying right now is all real estate. It's a bad time and it's crashing and everything's crashing, going to crash and all the things. And it's doom and gloom and no sales or transactions are happening. And again, micro market versus macro market.
Exactly.
You can't look at the same new builder neighborhood slowdowns that are going on the other side of Tampa and Pasco and compare it to Pinellas County.
You can't.
You just can't.
Nope.
It's, they're not pouring any more sand out here. It is what it is. It is one of the highest traffic tourism counties in the United States. It is what it is.
And every zip code represents a different buyer, truthfully, and seller. Every zip code. And sometimes even street, it does.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, too, there's still a couple of people that are a little crazy out there throwing things at the wall to see if they stick. Yep. But reasonably right now, a lot of things that are coming on the market because of what has happened in our area, I personally have noticed, like you said, they're priced right. Meaning that we can get behind the math of why they priced it accordingly to this. They're right on the mark. They're right in the ballpark. They're here to play. It's not somebody being like, I know that the highest house that's ever sold in my neighborhood is $500,000, but shit, I like my stuff and I don't think it stinks. 680.
Yes.
I don't care. Do it. I dare you. And so that's not a motivated seller. That's not a person that truly has to sell. Somebody that allowed some 1% rent a cop MLS agent yank them around and get it on the MLS, and it's not gonna, it's gonna sit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing too, like to what you're saying, is that national news that's coming across that's saying that okay, so that home sales are tanking, home sales are this, home sales are that. The people that are selling are reading that too, and so they're allowing that agent to help them with the number.
Reality.
And they are not going to want to move much off of that number as well. They're just not going to.
They've come to Jesus with the fact of what they're going into regarding the market.
They would not have put it on the market if they didn't have to, or they didn't need to move, or it was just time for them to move. They just wouldn't be doing it right now because they're reading the same headlines. I think that that's so true. It's so true. So yeah, it's a good time to buy. It's a neutral market for the most part. And the nice thing about it for the buyers is that you do, unless it's really priced really well to sell, or the product is exceptional.
Correct.
Then you have a few minutes. You have a few minutes to make that decision, and you're not buying something, that's in, an area that you really would never have decided to live in, but you had to buy it quickly because you're afraid you're going to get outbid. I mean, and
correct.
And that
I'm also seeing that too. I'm actually seeing things that, like, for example, Trent and I are always personally keeping an eye on a certain type of demographic of property. And I've noticed that there's certain things that are coming on the market that are strategically priced almost $100,000 less than what the comparables are. And I get notified because it matches one of our search criteria. And I'm like, oh my God, purely to, it's under contract within 3 days.
Yes, of course it is.
But they might as well have just gone through the village and rung a bell saying highest and best within 24 hours, highest and best within 24 hours, because I guarantee you they got multiple offers and they did it specifically for that reason, to go quickly and to say, don't around, come to the plate, let's play. And so it's kind of smart.
Yep.
It's pretty smart, especially when you are with a seller that they got to go.
Yep. Yeah. There was a home that went on the market near where my parents live that sold in like 4 days, and, went under contract, I should say, within 4 days. And I noticed over the weekend that they were putting in a new roof, and, just to even add that on, that they probably have it where it's a pay it close.
They're going to get Exactly. They're going to get that new roof painted closed. Yeah. The contractor
knew that they needed to put a new roof. They committed that they were going to already do it. They probably had the contractor already ready to go. And the contractor said, present a contract to me and I will get it done for you. Because roofs are only 10 to 15 years in this place without you having one person or one company citizens to insure you.
Yes.
It doesn't make it cheaper. That I went through last week too. Having a new roof doesn't make your insurance cheaper. It opens up your eligibility.
Correct.
Yeah.
Be clear about that. Well, while we were getting to our very last listener question, I just have to say that we need to plan a happy hour soon.
We do.
Because I feel like there's a lot of off podcast topics that we can discuss, and we can figure out how to politically correctly bring them to the podcast, because there's so many other comments I want to make. But I hope that listener got what he was looking for out of that answer.
I think so.
So the one that I wanted to make sure that we got to, okay, I know this girl. Okay. I don't personally know this girl. I should actually, but she just seems like the kind of good old girl next door, Midwestern lake life. Okay. Lake life was part of the user handle. So this is where I'm just resonating with this. But if I move to Florida, do I have to get a boat? It seems like everyone else has one. So
your pressure's tough on her.
So yes.
Interestingly enough, I know the person that made the lake life.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is she from the Midwest?
No, New York, upstate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forget you guys have lakes up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, lake life. You don't have to get a boat.
There's plenty of solutions that you can do to get on a boat.
And I think you'll find in a lot of ways life happens and you may not have as much time as if you had designated time that you went to the lake over the summer. Let's say you spent a month at the summer. Because you're always in this environment, you don't always pause to enjoy the environment. And sometimes the only time they pause to enjoy the environment is when your friends and family from away from here come in town.
True. And you see it from the tourist eye.
Yes. So no, you don't have to. You don't First of all, you have to figure out the launching because it's so much stricter down here than it is on a lake. Everything is stricter. I mean, Florida's boating capital of the world. So the rules, the laws, the regulation, the licensing is so much stricter. Yes. But there's also more accessibility in a lot of ways because you can join boat clubs, which are pretty awesome. Almost always you can find a friend that, there's Facebook groups you can join that you can always find some people that are hanging out on a boat. And
so my thing about the Facebook groups is when people are like, hey, by the way, I got a 20-seater and I'm going out to the sandbar on Saturday. Anybody that wants to chip in gas money, which again is a very good old boy. I mean, that's lake life too, back home anywhere with Lake of the Ozarks and things like Table Rock Lake and stuff like that. You pay for gas. You get on someone's boat, you pay for gas. Gas is expensive, Stacy.
Exactly.
We're not just here to be a groupie. You got to pay for gas. But I like that you bring up like Freedom Boat Club, right? So even if you yourself don't want to go through the overhead and cost and headaches, if you will, of being your own boat owner, you can belong to essentially these yacht clubs, my Midwest brain calls it, where you pay a monthly membership and then basically you reserve the option to go out. I would want to go out on Saturday and I want to take out a boat. I don't know if there's different membership levels for the tier of type of boat that you can take out, but I'm talking like a 20-foot pontoon boat. I'm talking a 20-foot speed boat. I'm talking about basically the families coming down and we're going to rent a boat for the day, right? Which I think is great. But at the same time, when it's people that live here that maybe don't have waterfront property, when Stephanie talks about the struggles of having to put in and put out, okay? Put the boat in, take the boat out. It is a hassle because another thing that you have to think about not on lake life is tides.
Yep. Exactly.
So when you're putting the boat in, when you're taking the boat out, where's the tide going to be with that ramp? Because as somebody shortly after we moved here, I just had to look at my hands. I fell on a boat ramp because we were taking it out at low tide and it was slicker than snot with the algae that was on there. Yeah. And I freaking went up there, like a cartoon character. Yes. And I might have even talked about this on the podcast. And I fell and my right arm went right off the side of the concrete ramp. Oyster bed.
Oh my gosh.
Or what are they called?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. They're not oysters. They're, I think barnacles. Thank you. Barnacle bed. Sharp as razors. Literally filleted my hand open
they
here.
Actually use those for razors. They're so sharp.
All the nerves. Yep. Almost lost all the nerve endings basically on this side of my hand. I got all kinds of stitches up and down. Florida.
Yep.
Okay. Didn't have to deal with that in lake life. Let's also talk about the fact that it makes me nervous. And you, of all people, as a business owner of watercraft rental, okay, to Taylor and Travis from Indiana, how do you even explain to people in a briefing channels, tides, stay between these, the channels ever change, no waves, don't go, this way. There's so many factors than doing it on a freshwater lake.
There's so many different things.
As a person that was boat life, lake life, and we moved down here and we do have a boat, yes, it's nice to have. But unless you have it readily available, it is a pain.
It is a pain. It is a pain. I would recommend anyone that loves to come in and just, they get this like genuine excitement to start renting jet skis and they get back and they're like, I'm going to buy one. And I'm like, just when you go to the place, make sure you talk to them about the maintenance because that you won't love. Like it's salt water you're putting your boat in. It's not fresh water. It's totally
the
different.
Rinsing of the engines, totally the outboards, outboard versus inboards. Oh my God.
And no matter how much Michael treats our jet skis in the off season and the treatment he does and the flushing that we do every February.
Just thinking about the extra treatment that Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, the JD5 ski. Yeah, that's brand new. The JD5 ski. Yep. But no matter what he does and gets it ready to kind of winterize it, to make it good, every February we start running those skis and it's like, this one's down, this one's down, this one's down. And it's because of the salt water that I would recommend. So when my parents retired, and they live here in Florida, as I've said before, we rented a boat and then we did it for a couple of times because we wanted to see if maybe we would join a boat club. And then we realized that like, we just weren't going to do that all the time. We just weren't going to, and that it was easier just to go rent one and put out the money for that versus, boat clubs, they're pricey. I mean, Freedom Boat Club would be very expensive because it's nationwide and you can do it everywhere. I do think they have some that are like, if you want to just use this port specifically, but nonetheless, no, you don't have to have a boat. No, I mean, you don't have to have a boat at all. You could still very much a Florida life and not have a boat and then go rent one when you want to, or go out on some jet skis when you want to, and just enjoy it that way. But no, you don't have to. It's not as accessible as you think it might be.
You don't, but I will say it is easy to get on one in Florida. Yes. So if you're like, you don't have to own a boat, but it's easy to figure out how to get onto one. It is. So just be respectful.
Exactly.
Just be respectful and pay for gas, for the love of God.
Exactly. So. Exactly.
All right. Well, we got through 2 other questions.
Exactly. We did.
Okay.
We did, is right.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and leave it at there. I feel like we've given enough chatter for the night. So maybe we can go ahead and divulge on that. Always want to make sure to put it out there, though. Please don't hesitate to send in any types of questions or comments about the podcast. We will laugh and not judge. And
exactly.
But at the same time, always make sure to give us a follow. We are at the Real Salty Podcast on the YouTube channels, and stay tuned because our social media is about to blow up.
We're getting it there. We're getting it.
We're going to get it there. We actually are going to hire somebody. Yes. Look at us. Yes. I feel like this is part of that podcast stat. Like, they not like us.
Yes, exactly. Tell me, are you my friend? Are we lost?
Exactly. Okay, we'll stop embarrassing your kid, but we're a fan.
Yay. Exactly.
I love it.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.